Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome to this very special session because I have a wonderful guest, Dallisa Hocking, who is a fifth generation medium psychic. And actually, someone here in our community introduced us. And from the moment I started to connect energetically, I started to feel this light and joy expanding from my heart. So welcome, and it's so lovely to have you here.
Oh, Natalie, this is so amazing. I'm appreciative for the opportunity, and I can't wait to see where our conversation goes today.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is we're both channels of just being so open. And so there's a few things that I was connecting with the angels before that we're going to go into a few directions, but the rest of it's going to unfold. So we'll be talking a bit about Three Eye Atlas, and because it's the end of 2025, it would be lovely if you could also then share some predictions for 2026 and beyond and see where that takes us. And I feel like this is I'll guide with some questions, but it's more like an awakening conversation where we'll both channel and everyone here pay attention to what you start to experience because there's a lot of light coming in. So you might have aha moments and massive realizations, like mental expansion and releasing patterns and filling with lights. Because even as I'm saying this, I'm getting goosebumps and tingles.
Beautiful. Yes, I think that spirit is very present here and will help guide us in what should be revealed today, both with our conversation, but as you said, the individual that is listening to this, because I'm speaking for myself, but maybe you've had these experiences too, where you hear someone say something and it just hits in that moment on that day. And maybe you'd heard it before, but this time you hear it and it just lands differently in your heart and in your spirit. And I definitely welcome those ahas or those epiphanies because you're right. I think the energy is so big and the frequency has shifted in such a high octave. That is all available to all of us.
Yeah, it's huge. It's mass spiritual awakening, and we are remembering, bringing all parts of ourselves back and accepting ourselves as we are, like the shadows and all of it, and just recognizing it and then going deeper into presence where our true, expanded, infinite being is right here, right now. So I would love for you to share a little bit about you before we go to Three Eye Atlas. I would love to just whatever you feel like sharing about your journey and what's brought you to this very moment here with me.
Oh, it's such a story that winds from one road to another road. I'm sure many people that are joining us for this conversation can also recognize it in themselves. I never set out to be a psychic medium. I shouldn't be that surprised because I'm fifth generation. But before, I'd owned different companies. So I love business, I love marketing, and I love being creative. And 10 years ago, overnight, my gifts all dropped in. And in hindsight, I think about that time, my grandmother, who I was incredibly close with, who I inherited these gifts from, she was getting closer to the end of her journey here on earth. And so as I think back on that time, it feels like she was passing along her gifts to me. It was like handing it down from that generation to me. And it literally came in one night with a friend's aunt who had passed away unexpectedly. And I was staying at his house. And I had never really had a mediumship experience with someone that I didn't know, but I had downloads and intuitive guidance throughout my whole life. But that night 10 years ago, she passed away unexpectedly, my friend's aunt. And she came to me while I was sleeping and wanted me to relay a message to her nephew that she was okay, that she lived on, that she was on the other side. And I remember exactly what she looked like when she came to me in my dream state. And so the next morning, as I'm coming into awakeness, I decided I'm going to go out to the kitchen and deliver this message to my friend Peter. And he was very gracious. He asked what she looked like. I described her hair, her facial features, and we actually ended up confirming it a couple of days later that a photo that was on display at her memorial service was, in fact, the same woman that had presented just a couple of nights before. So that's how it all started. I'm Gemini rising, and so I'm very curious, and I have a Sagittarius sun and a Pisces moon. So I'm always like tuning into the other side and what spirit can share with us for all of us here on this earth journey. And so that's how it started a decade ago. And I've just been studying and learning. And I've been so grateful to have worked with thousands of clients and students at this point. And yeah, I just stay open to what the pathway is as we move forward. But I don't remember a lot of my channelings after I do them. And I have my primary gifts of being clairvoyant, which is the clear seeing, like imagery and symbols, clairaudient, which is clear hearing. So I'll hear words and phrases that pass over my right ear. And I'm clairsentient. So I will feel things in the physical body. So sometimes it's marked by chills of like confirmation. Other times it's if I'm channeling a spirit, if there was something that happened in their physical body while they were on earth that they want to discuss, I will often actually feel it in that region of my body as I'm channeling them. So it's fascinating and I'm always surprised. And I feel like I'm on the journey with you, with the audience, anytime a message starts coming through. So it's a lot of fun, actually.
It's quite amazing because the three clairs and seeing, feeling, and hearing are the same in the way in which I channel as well.
Beautiful. See, there are no accidents. We were meant to connect today. The universe connected you and I together, and our frequencies can dance happily as we have this conversation.
Absolutely. And what's coming in now, the question of, do you ever get the sense of smell or taste come in? Is there a rare occasion for that?
I love that question, Natalie, because in my human body, I don't really have a good sense of smell. But there has been a few instances where I will smell something that will come in that way that is a part of the message. I remember years ago when I was first starting this work, I was on my way to do a group reading at someone's house, and I had to drive quite a distance to get there. And I'm opening up, Spirit, please come in, start giving me information that I'm going to be bringing to this group tonight. And I'm driving down the highway and I start smelling popcorn. And I'm in my car by myself. I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like, say popcorn? I can't go in there and just talk about popcorn. Give me something else. And then again, I smell this wave of popcorn and I'm laughing. And then I hear the word popcorn come in through my ear. And it turns out that the message actually was perfect for the group because I went in and was sitting in their living room and just introducing myself and opening up the energy even more. And I said, the strangest thing happened. I was driving over here asking for a message and I kept smelling popcorn. And I hear this woman gasp, and she's sitting next to this other woman. And as soon as I hear that, I can feel a cat that had passed away brushing up against my leg. And so I say, there's a cat here now. And this one woman, she just starts crying. And it turns out it was her sister that was sitting next to her. And she said, that actually makes perfect sense to us. My sister here was making popcorn with her husband one night, and the popcorn machine ended up burning their house down and it killed their cat in the house fire. And so that message, which is leading off with the most random message of popcorn and talking about this cat and spirit, actually had such a profound impact on them. And so I think it reminds me that spirit never wastes a message. If there's something coming through, there's something in there that we are meant to hear. And so we need to get our ego out of the way. And if it's coming through, it's meant to be spoken out loud. So that's my rule.
Wow, that's incredible. I got such goosebumps. And I started seeing an image of a little praying mantis while you were talking about this. And I'm getting this message that's coming through that pay attention to the insects as well in life, because so all our senses, smell, taste, touch, hear, feeling, all of that, and all beings from the tiniest ones like a mosquito to the grander ones, because when they come in, they are bringing a message as well. Like the message that's coming through right now is that there are no mistakes. Everything is a divine synchronicity. And when you start to see that life is a woven miracle and every tiny part of it is a micro miracle, then you really expand and live from the heart.
Amen. Yeah, I even look at insects very differently now than I did years ago. When I was in my much younger years, I remember being frightened, scared of an insect that would come into the home, for example. And now, just like you were saying, Natalie, when I see some insect or even a spider come into my own space, I know that is a messenger. And everything that's coming into our life on our pathway is meant to be sharing something with us. There is some kind of nugget of wisdom or inspiration that we're supposed to get from that. And I agree. I think there are miracles around every corner and energy that is unveiling itself to us in every moment. So it's up to us to stay open and be open to those miraculous synchronicities.
Absolutely. And because we're clearing the veil. I call the veil of the mind, these layers that are in front of clarity. And we are already spiritual. We don't have to try to achieve to become spiritual. Our nature, we are beings, spiritual beings. And to clear the veil, to clear those layers, we start to see through real eyes. And that's when we realize how magical everything is. And I'm getting this strong feeling that my grandmother, who passed away a few years ago, and I actually helped her with her passing because she was in a lot of pain. I was sending her Reiki, and she started to speak to me through my mind when she was passing. And then the next moment, there was a baby, brand new born praying mantis that was on my leg, and it tickled me. So the natural reaction was, oh, I want to brush that off. But I stopped and I was like, and I brought it to my hand and I looked and she spoke to me. And ever since then, anytime there's a praying mantis, I just spend time with it and I really listen. And just for everyone who's here, the first words that come through your mind, they take them to heart. Really listen because they're real, they're truth. And loved ones who have passed, they can speak through our mind, and sometimes they'll speak in their own accent, or you'll just hear them in your accent and your words, but you'll sense a shift in the frequency when they start to enter. Yeah,
Absolutely. I have a lot of psychic development students, and over the years, I get asked the question, how do I know if I can really do this? And that reminds me of what you were just sharing, because what spirit has showed over and over again is we get to be right. We're already born spiritual. We already have these gifts within us. And if we believe we can connect, if we believe that we're intuitive, if we believe that we can see all of these things with our greater eyes, then we can. But it's when that self doubt comes in of who am I to do this? Or who am I to see a praying mantis? Or who am I to get a symbol from somebody that's passed away? That I find lowers the frequency and creates these walls, these blocks. And we get to be right, is what spirit keeps saying to me is if you believe you can, because we were born with it, just like you said. So I love that your grandmother comes through as a praying mantis and whatever other form she wants to take to speak with you. But I think we can sometimes be our own worst enemy in believing that we can't do it or we're afraid to do it when really it's quite beautiful in this frequency where all that is lives. And so we can all do it.
absolutely. And the question that's channeling through from the angels now for you is, if that comes up in your own life, sometimes the mind. Like even for me, I've been practicing for 25 years and I'll still have self-doubt sometimes come in. Not as often as it used to and not as strong as it used to, but it can still come in. For you, when that lower frequency voice that kind of can block you comes in, do you have a tool or a practice? Like how do you work with it?
I love that question, Natalie. I usually, for myself and for individuals that I talk to with when that's happening to them in their life, I usually suggest just take a big deep breath and honor what's coming up. Because if there is fear coming up or self doubt, that's probably asking you to look deeper into where that self doubt comes from. Because sometimes we try to shoo it away like that praying mantis. Like we're like, oh yeah, today I just feel like I have self-doubt or I don't feel like I can do this right now. But if we take that opportunity and feel it and feel that self-doubt and get curious and act like you're sitting at a table and you're calling that fear to the table sitting across from you, and you ask it, that energy, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to remind me of? Because sometimes the fear energy or self doubt is just trying to protect us. And so asking, what are you trying to protect me from? And having a conversation with it, I've noticed will help dissolve that energy so that it doesn't have that grip on you anymore. And so instead of saying, I don't want to look at that, I'd say get really curious and ask why it's there, because that will probably lead you to the next breakthrough on your path.
I love that. That is absolutely, it's profound and deep. And what it does is acceptance is the vibration of love, and love transmutes all. So by being with whatever's arising, it arises, you recognize, you're curious, it bubbles up to the surface instead of being shoved down or pushed away. And because it's seen, it releases, it goes from like an emotion which can be felt in the body so strong. It's like bubbling out of the system and turning back into energy. And it's like the wind of change comes and blows it away. So thank you for sharing that because that's a life-changing tool. That's a practice I use as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I had a coach I was working with years ago, and she said if there is something coming up inside of you, there's three core energies that it may be connected to. The three core energies are seeking approval, like wanting to be loved and approved of. The other one is safety, wanting to feel safe. And the other one is control, like I am seeking to be in control here. And so, if there is something coming up and you're getting curious and you're digging into it, it may also be helpful to ask yourself, is this approval, safety, or control that I'm seeking in this moment? Because just like you said, if you bring it out into the light and ask the question and it dissolves and shifts energy and transmutes, then it's not going to be over the top of you like a heavy energetic blanket. Now you're just looking at it as new data in the spiritual realm.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Now everyone has three ways of just putting it in an energetic area and understanding it deeper, and it releases from that understanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm feeling now is this three-eye atlas energy really strong with us. I know that you've been channeling three-eye atlas, and I just sometimes I cry tears of love from such a massive heart expansion with this beautiful consciousness that's entered into our field. So I would love for you to share or maybe channel, or let's bring three-eye atlas in and see what comes through.
Yes. And as you even mentioned, Three Eye Atlas, I have head to toe chills going through my body with this wave of high frequency energy. And when I'm bringing in this energy, it's very high frequency. I see a lot of bold light in the energy space of Three Eye Atlas. And so I think that there will be things that people will be able to see with their physical eyes that we will experience through this end of the year. But I also feel psychically that we will be able to see even more light in and around it that our physical, everyday 3D eyes may not be able to see. And so I am expecting that at the very end of this year, that there will be people talking about their experience of connecting with Three Eye Atlas and the consciousness of it. And so right now it feels like in the world, there are people talking about what it could be, but I also think it's going to have an effect on the level of consciousness. Spirit's been channeling into me a lot lately around the rise in consciousness and telepathy, and how more and more of us will be connecting through energy rather than the use of so many words. And so I think that's where we're headed. And Three Eye Atlas feels like I'm hearing in my ear the beginning, like it feels like it's a layer of energy that's coming in that will help us to activate, and hearing dormant, like dormant pieces of ourselves. So it feels like there's an activation that is a part of its visit here. But I also get that there is something with Three Eye Atlas and the origin of humans and Earth. And so it does feel like there's a bigger story here about Three Eye Atlas and humans and animals and how we're all connected. But I do feel like there is some connection point between Three Eye Atlas and humans. For example, it doesn't feel like when I'm in the energy of it that we don't know each other. So I feel like there is some kind of ancient history that we're going to become more awakened to. But I do think it has something to do with our consciousness and our own frequency as humans. What have you been getting?
The golden light. I just quite recently have been feeling so deep into this golden light because at first I saw this blue light and then I started seeing green and then pink and the golden. And what I'm picking up is that Three Eye Atlas is here to help us remember that which we truly are through a massive heart activation, and to remember the wisdom of that which we already all carry. Gone are the days where we put others on pedestals and we think someone's got more wisdom than us. We are entering into a stage now where we are remembering that we are all one, we are all equal, and we all have access to the same wisdom. It's here in the present moment. It's not somewhere that we need to try to find it, but rather to come back into presence, to come back into the heart, and it will be uncovered, and to honor that each of us will experience the uncovering and the wisdom in our own unique way. What also you mentioned about like the history of humanity, when you started saying that, I felt this huge energy from deep inside the earth come up. So it feels like wisdom that's being held inside our earth is being activated because, oh wow, goosebumps, the energy that Three Eye Atlas holds is doing something to our earth. And it's like she's so happy because someone that she loves dearly, like a family member's here with her and supporting her. And so she's free to release things that have been dormant and been blocked and held in her energy field, because we've had so many cycles here on earth of where we've had Atlantis, and then the everything. Whenever I think of Atlantis, I see everything as a crystal clear water that we can drink and our whole body goes to higher vibration, and everything's so green and nourishing, and yeah, we're telepathic and we're connecting with everything so easily. And then ego started to come in and we started to attach to ego, and so then we had the fall of Atlantis, and I feel like this has cycled thousands and thousands of times, and now there's an opportunity for Earth to release the memory of those cycles, which means we are releasing memories of those cycles. So it's not always like the most comfortable when we're releasing like past lives and ancestral energy and belief patterns of this life and shadows. But it's so rewarding because it means we're no longer carrying these like heavy boulders. We're instead what's left is like just little pebbles that are easier to clear. So, yeah, how's that flowing for you?
Oh, I love it. I'm like hanging on every word you're saying because I know it's coming from source and I recognize it as divine truth. I I was doing a show. I have a 90-minute psychic stage show that I do. And at the end of each show, I channel a message. And as I shared earlier, I don't remember those messages afterwards. But a friend who was in the audience really echoed a lot of what you just said as the channeling that I brought through. And I remember in the channeling and what she had shared with me was that it was Atlantis and it was what you just spoke of with these crystal clear waters, this high energy and telepathy. And it was like we were iridescent, like we were shimmering. And the message that came through that night was that we've done this before. Humans have been through this cycle before where we find ourselves in this moment. We have been here. This isn't our first time, but with the veil of amnesia and earth school, a lot of people haven't awakened yet to the memory of their past lives or the remembrance of the cycles. And so this period of time can feel uh, filled with fear and unease and uncertainty around change. But we've done this before, maybe not this degree in this incarnation, but we've done it in other lifetimes. And so Spirit had come through and through this channeling said, you're going to hit this pivot again, this road, and humans need to work together to change and shift out of what the old pattern has been. And so it was this like curiosity around what are we going to do with it this time? What are we going to do with this rise of consciousness? Are we going to use it for the greatest good of all and come together in this new frequency that so many energies are a part of? Or are we going to have the ego keep coming in and getting louder and louder? I know when I've channeled on it, that spirit often refers to this period of time as the dismantling. And it's all of these different systems. You name the system, whether it's education, healthcare, money, real estate, that all of the systems are either completely dismantling or they are going through some kind of rebirthing process. And so I think the world will begin to look more and more like we just don't recognize it. But I think it's just this period of time, like the caterpillar that is going through the metamorphosis, but it doesn't quite know what's really going on, but it feels inside of itself that there is a higher calling that it is moving into. So I feel like we are that caterpillar right now. And we know that if we tune into ourselves, we know that it is a great period of dismantling. But I think if we're really honest with ourselves, I think we also know that the new world, the rebirth, is also going to be a part of why we're here and, frankly, why our soul wanted to be on earth for this period of time, because what we will go through is unlike so many other periods of time on earth. So this is a great catalyst for all of us and a great catalyst for Earth herself. And so what a time to be here.
I'm so excited. Every day I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm back on Earth from dream world, from being in other dimensions. And I often go to my clients, our students, and visit them in dream time and then come back. And I'm just like, yes, back in this beautiful expansion that's happening here. And yes, there has to be a death in order for a rebirth. And so, yeah, there's crumbling of the old systems. And so, as we're coming to the end of 2025, which has been such a year. Wow, just like breakthroughs and just everyone's been feeling it. So
Yeah.
now we're going into 2026. What have you been like? What are you picking up? What predictions and would you like to share with us?
Yes, I feel like there is so much that's going to happen in 2026. I'm actually being shown more of the period of now and into the early 2030s as a huge period of massive change. I think by the time we get to the early 2030s, our whole lives feel completely different. Like our day to day world and how we work within it and how we communicate consciously with other humans and other animals and insects and beings. It's going to be, I think, light years ahead of where we're at right now, which I think sounds really positive because there will be a lot more people that will be awakened to the consciousness and wanting to connect in deeper, more spiritual, heart centered ways. So I think that's going to be amazing. But between now and then, as we were talking about a minute ago, Spirit has shown that it's not just one thing that's going to happen that will be a catalyst. I think there'll be different experiences with Three Eye Atlas, but there are other layers they've shown. They said it's more than just one thing and it just keeps kind of layering on top of each other. And I've asked why, like, why do we need to have all of these different things happen? And they've said it's because one thing will help some people, humans, awaken, but other people won't have any effect on them. But then this other thing comes in, and then this other group of souls is awakened through that experience. And so it will be things that touch our daily lives, like healthcare, the money system, digital currencies, so natural disasters. So, like I was saying, spirit shows it as this layered, almost like a pie, and all these different ingredients get put into this pie. But gosh, it's like, where do we even start with predictions? Because, okay, I'm just going to channel this in. So, with real estate, for example, they've shown more and more that the way we live today is not how we're going to be living in the future. In other words, it feels like we will have more control over the food that we grow, and it'll be grown in more of micro communities. And so we will have the ability to have firsthand access to food. It doesn't feel in this period between now and the early 2030s, it feels like it ends up shifting out of like major supply chain routes and instead goes into more of the community and individuals and groups of people that are producing their own food. So it feels like a huge shift away from how we receive our food now and from where. And being more self reliant is part of that. Spirit has mentioned many times over the last couple of years that the more self reliant we are, the easier we will flow through this time of great change and not being hooked into old stories or beliefs about money or scarcity. Or specifically, I think the scarcity belief of there won't be enough. Because Spirit has assured me that even through all of the changes with how we spend money or how we receive money, the lack of security with a lot of jobs, they've assured me that we will be okay and that we will not only survive, but we will thrive. And a major ingredient in that is going to be who we are in community with and those that are with us in our own local neighborhoods, those that are a part of spiritual communities that we are in, that they're calling them in my ear right now light bridges. And so we will be connecting even more so with our community members, and that it will be important for us to understand who in each community is passionate or really good at certain things. So they're showing me the example of the gardening, finding out who around you is really blessed and talented at creating a garden and how to harvest that garden. Whereas you might have someone else that's really good at canning food and relying on them to help bring that wisdom and knowledge into the group. So it feels in many ways that we get back to simpler times. I do think there will be more of the artificial intelligence coming online. But whenever I look at it, it doesn't feel like it's going to cause a lot of harm or havoc, but it does feel like there are parts of it that are integrated into society. And so it could feel very much like the return to Atlantis, where we had these higher frequencies and energies that were helping and assisting us. And it feels like a return to that. So I do still feel, even though we go back to simpler times, that there is still an element of advancement with technology. And it feels with the return of simpler foods, ways to barter and exchange, that actually lowers our stress levels. That's what I'm channeling in right now. And that we end up being much happier and feeling like we are one with Earth again. And it feels like the separation that many have experienced between humans and the earth really begins to dissolve and float away. Instead, it feels like we are integrated and we have that remembrance of that deeper connection with our energy.
I can feel it as you channel it. And it feels like with AI that AI can do some of the roles and the jobs that we don't want to do. And so we can move from that place where we feel like we're being pushed into doing work to make money, rather into a space of feeling into our hearts what we're here to truly create from love. And I love what you were saying about each person bringing in what they love to do and bringing that into the community, because then everything goes in this wonderful, like, hum of harmony, because nobody's running and being pushed from the ego to those moments where you feel like, oh, I should do this. There'll be less and less of that. And there'll be more of, hold on, I'm not going to listen to that voice. I'm going to pause and feel into my heart. And I'm going to be brave and vulnerable and trust into my heart and only do what my heart's guiding me to do. And I feel like this is how we're birthing the new earth, because we're no longer going to listen and be controlled by that fear. And also the piece about money that you spoke about, I keep getting this message that there's a whole new currency that's going to come from inside the earth arising up. So it's like it's already existed in another sphere and dimension and lifetime, and it's not here yet, but it's coming when we're ready for it. And I have no idea what that's going to be.
Oh, wow. I love that. Yeah, I've been shown that there will be that period of time with the bartering for goods and services, and that it won't be like handing someone a piece of paper or a coin that we typically will use, but there will be more and more people going into exchanging with each other, which feels really beautiful and high frequency, which I love. One of the ingredients in the pie, though, is going to be people that have been in jobs and maybe they've been in the same career or industry for a really long time, and they've been attached to what success looks like in the corporate world or what numbers show on the paycheck. And so, with all of these different ingredients that'll be happening, there will be a massive opportunity for people that have been in that fear space of, I have to have this job in order to be worthy. I have to make this much money for my family to approve of me. That all starts crumbling as part of this dismantling. And I'm feeling called to say this, people that are listening to this conversation today, that they are meant to be reminded that they are those bridges of light, and that we and you will have individuals, maybe we know them well, maybe we knew them in passing, but that they will be coming to many of us to say, what do I do? I feel so lost. I don't know who I am anymore. And that there will be this beautiful, like, unveiling to them of this higher consciousness that they already have within them. And it will help them to shed off the old energies that we've had here on earth. So don't be surprised if you get phone calls, emails, text messages, someone stops you on the street and says, help me, because I do think there will be people seeking help. And you, the listeners, have been in this vibration and open to this. And that shows, and that is a part of your blueprint and your frequency. And so more and more people will be attracted in and asking those questions. And so you're part of the way showers that are here right now.
Absolutely. Our communities, everyone here, we're we're so dedicated to our hearts and to having depth of understanding of what's unfolding so that we can share it, whether it's like through words or energy by just being the presence that you are. It's huge. And that other piece that you said about the exchange, that people will be like bartering and exchanging, what that means, the angels are saying, is people are going to be more in resonance with each other, because the whole reason why money was created was because so many different types of jobs and roles, and it just, as far out as the mind can imagine, is as far out as we can create different roles and experiences. And they just went in so many different directions. And so we went into a burst of multiplicity. And what's happening now is we're coming back more to unity. We're wanting more of that connection. And we're simplifying our lives. We don't need so many things and so much stuff, and it just less feels more peaceful. And with that, then like less different roles and jobs. And if we're connecting then with our community, then we're becoming in resonance, like the same frequency. And then it's only natural that we don't need money, because what you're offering is actually what I would love. And this, I'm so excited because this is already happening in my life here in my neighborhood. I live in Central America in Nicaragua, and just down the road is, so it's people in this community that have moved from other countries, lots of us, and we're just being embraced and held by the local community of Nicaraguans who are so warm and friendly. And all of us are coming here into a new place and following our hearts, because our hearts led us here. And then we're going, what is it that we love? And so now we have this market here in my little community. And my one friend, she loves making jewelry. So she makes jewelry. My other friend, he's got a farm, and we buy from his farm and he brings it to the market. And someone else makes bread and sourdough. And I just feel, wow, it is already happening. And the angels are saying for us to recognize where it's showing up, because they're saying a very powerful message right now to everyone. There is many places already in your own life right now where the new earth is already showing up. So pay attention to that. And what attention means is feeding the light of awareness to it, and then it grows. So it's like watering the seeds that are already starting to grow the shoots.
Oh, I love that. I love the imagery of the sprouting, right? Because what we water is what will grow. So where we place our focus is what is going to expand. And through the dismantling, it can be somewhat easy to get into a pattern or a loop of the things that are going wrong or the things that are falling apart. But if we choose to see this time as there will be seedlings that are sprouting and they're already within us, they're already in our neighborhoods, and we choose to focus on growing those sprouts, then it doesn't create so much of the energy focus on the other part of it that is happening. So I love that imagery of the sprouts because it's where we're at now, and we're all growing our own gardens and our own beautiful plants and inviting in different beings and animals. And there's just going to be this great magnetic activation that happens, that as we continue to water what we really want to grow, we just keep attracting more and more of that into our life. And then eventually, Spirit is saying it reaches that tipping point where then it is more a part of the day to day and more communities that are doing it. So I think it's going to catch on quite quickly based on how I feel and what I'm getting in the channeling. And so it makes sense why they're saying early 2030s, we won't really recognize our lives based on how we're living today, because so much of it will have been shifted and changed. But we're here for a reason. So let's embrace it and welcome the opportunity for growth.
Absolutely. It is. so expansive and light filled. And is there anything coming in for 2026 as we're about to go into this new year? Is there anything that's coming through from your guides or beings of light that they want to share with us?
Yes, and they've said this in my ear a few times, and I'm sure a lot of the audience has heard of the movie The Truman Show. It's with Jim Carrey, and I don't want to ruin the movie, but he goes about living his life and then realizes that his life is not quite what he thought it was. And so there's a lot of this peeking through the energy in 2026 where you may be walking through your life and feel like, gosh, this just doesn't make sense anymore. I really used to be aligned with that, whether it's that job or that relationship, but it just feels like I'm in some kind of alternate reality, that something in my world has shifted. And I think it's because you're probably awakening to the deeper spiritual essence of who you are. And the external validation or the external relationships or markers of success no longer resonate with the frequency that you've embodied and grown. And so they want to make sure that you hear that if something feels like off or different, you're not alone, but it's likely that shift in frequency that you're going through. There will be, they're saying more on like a media and news piece of the story of 2026, is that there will be changes to the dismantling of the federal government in the United States, which then feels like it is going to have a ripple effect into other governments and other countries. And so it goes back to what we've been talking about today with self reliance and having that local market in Nicaragua and where these are going to start popping up in other parts. It goes back, I think, to the strength and resiliency of the local communities. So I do think in 26 that we'll be seeing more and more of that going back to locals rather than putting so much focus, attention to federal government or elected officials. Actually feels like we're going to be going into more like grassroots driven committees or grassroots driven groups in different cities, different countries around the world where it's not going to be so much about turning on the TV or reading a news article about what the leader of the country is doing or has done. We'll see that through the dismantling, but it feels like there'll be more stories about what people are doing for each other. And it feels like we get, how do I put this? That our tendency and our energy is going to want to have the good, the positive stories. It feels like we'll even have a stronger distaste for stories that are negative or fear based. It's like we really start even more of this doesn't resonate anymore. And so I think there'll be a bigger shift of who are you getting your news from? But it's likely going to be your neighbor that lives next to you that heard it from someone else that they have a community with. And so it feels like news is going to be traveling very differently as well. And we'll see a big shift in that next year.
I love that. And I also get the sense that people are no longer trusting the news like how they used to trust it, which needed to happen. So everything that's being played in our world is so perfect, like the polarity with the governments and all of that, because it's making people wake up and not just believe in anything that they read and feel. And then also these YouTube communities, the information that's coming through and what we're sharing is so much more like I feel depth. It's like depth of knowing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Information is, they're saying in my ear, creating new pathways. And so, where there weren't roads before between people, that those roads basically disappear. We don't even need the roads anymore because of how we will be attracting in the new news based on our own individual frequency and that resonance. And even our ability telepathically to communicate with nature and with our pets or other animals, or like we mentioned earlier, the insects, like it's going to become so much more easier as we get further and further along. And I think you may even find in 2026 that you're having a conversation with maybe the lake that you live near, or a tree, or a sea otter, or your cat. You're just going to find yourself communicating without words, and you'll receive information from that being or that energy, and vice versa. And so it's going to create an ability to connect energy in ways that we've never quite been able to do, at least on as large of a scale as it will be.
I love it. Everyone is opening up their own channel to their own divine nature and connecting. And when one starts to connect in this way, there is no limit. We are able to sense and know things about every being. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
2026 is here. It's more and more hard. And yes, of course, the cracking through, the breaking through, the releasing, and that does bring that confusion. But because 2025 has been such a strong year of like breakthrough, so strong, it feels that so many people have gone through many dark nights of the souls and done many releases of the shadow, that there's already now a huge wave, like thousands upon thousands of people that are vibrating in a higher state of awareness, that then are going to support the next wave of people that will then be awakening in 2026. And I feel like everyone here is part of that wave that will be supporting those others that will be going through their breakthroughs in 2026. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the dismantling will create a lot of cracks. But as we spoke about a little bit ago about the sprouts, just remember, in every crack, there is a new seedling that is going to grow through that cement. And so, even if it looks like that's done, that's over, remember that spirit never closes a door without opening a window. And so, we just have to stay open to all the possibilities and opportunities that we'll be greeted with next, which is a different frequency.
Yeah, exactly. And my feeling now is that it would be so lovely for you and I to channel some sort of like a meditation, energetic experience for everyone who's here, so that we can have a beautiful breakthrough and a massive sprouting in the fertile soil of our hearts.
Beautiful. I think we should.
So I'm just feeling this. I feel like I'll begin and then hand over to you. How does that feel?
Beautiful. Yeah. Let me know when you want me to jump in, and I'll do that.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just close my eyes. This is going to be channeled through from the angels for us all now. Divine beings of light, thank you for your presence. Your presence is everything. By being in this moment, the light that you are is shining brighter in all directions, and your energy field has already expanded out. And we come in now to guide you in a meditation and activation to remember this light that you are. Bring all your awareness into your heart. You can sense the pattern of your heartbeat pulsing outwards, and you bring your awareness deeper and deeper into the center of your chest. And deep inside your chest is a beautiful garden. And there is one area in this garden that has got fertile soil that is ready for you to plant something sacred, something that you would truly love to experience in 2026. And you have a pearl in your hand, a seed of pearl. It has all the colors and the opulescence, and it is just glowing in your hand. And you blow your prayer, your wish, your intention into the seed, and you plant it into the garden in your heart. And you water it with the divine waterfall of light that's coming in from the universe into your heart. And you are standing in this garden, being cleansed and cleared by the water, by the rain, and also you are feeding this fresh energy into the seedling that is now starting to grow. And you feel alive, and you feel the blessings and the trust and the love and the expansion. And we, the angels, are beaming you light. Light is entering into your heart, into this garden. Notice what color or colors are entering in. They are especially for you. And you feel so wonderful and so connected to the truth and the light that you are. And in this expanded state, we now hand over to Dallisa, who will continue guiding you.
Take a big, deep breath. And as you breathe in, feel the gold frequency that is residing in your heart. And with each deep breath, feel that gold frequency go up and out of your body, expanding 6 feet in all directions, feeling yourself contained within this high frequency gold energy. And as your heart is activated and you have this seedling that you have planted in your own heart now, you will magnetize in different blessings and opportunities that the universe is bringing along your pathway. You are no longer contained in just one physical body. Your energy is expanding in all directions in the highest frequency, dimension, and light, giving you a opportunity of ease and flow where you connect not only more easily to yourself, to your own heart, but you are now connecting more easily with all that is. You are beginning to merge your frequency with like-minded vibration, where you will find yourself moving through your life with lighter footsteps, feeling a sense of gliding from one place to another, more easily taking yourself from your physical space and entering even higher dimensions and frequencies. Your thoughts will become even sharper arrows, getting you, your life, your relationships into these newfound places. You are becoming a very large, energetic version of the person that you've always been. But your energy and the way that it is moving now and into the future will feel more expansive than it ever has before. If any fears come up about that expansiveness, breathe them out of your body. Get curious as to why it showed up. because you are meant to be expansive. And any energy that may be asking you to play it small may just be something of past or ancestral. And so ask the question, why are you here? Get curious and then breathe it out of the body and return yourself into your heart space, back into that fertile soil where you planted that seed, that pearl, and feel into that fertile soil of your heart, knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be, that spirit, the universe, doesn't make mistakes. And anytime it feels like one door has closed, they're opening a very large window for you to go through and explore. Spirit sends love, abundance, and peace to us all. Breathing that in and feeling that breath go through the whole body, every cell of the body. Taking another breath and feeling that settle into place. And then one more, dropping your shoulders down away from your ears and keeping your heart and your energy expansive, magnetizing love, abundance, and clarity. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Beautiful. And so just relax into that energy. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and bring yourself back into your space. If it feels good to stretch or wiggle your body, you can go ahead and do that. Cool. Coming all the way back in. Beautiful. I really enjoyed that visual that they shared through you, Natalie, and what I was seeing as I was channeling that. There is so much to be excited for. And I love that we're here right now and we get to do this. So thank you.
Yes, this is so special. We've all just received gifts, a gift of truly bringing intention in for our next year that we're going into, the gift of remembering the fullness of the light that we are. And I'm getting this message from the angels that these gifts and activations that have happened throughout our session together today are going to continue to unfold. So everyone stay aware of, and what the angels are saying is notice how you're showing up differently because of what you've received here today. Notice the transformations, the shifts, whereas before the mind would have done something else. And in another moment, it actually was quiet and present and intrigued. The angels are saying it's going to be a very beautiful snowball effect of unfolding. And you might be called to come back and watch this a few times. And I'd also love to, we would both love to hear from you all. What maybe you want to share what your intention is and what your soul desires to experience in 2026, or what you're feeling right now, what the energies are, and anything that you feel like sharing. This is such a warm and loving community, and we all love supporting each other. So let's all be here together and take time and read through what everyone else is saying, and being here together in community and walking hand in hand, heart to heart, as we go into 2026. And I feel like tears of love with this because, Dallisa, you're amazing. I'm so grateful that we could co-create this together. And everyone who's here, I love you so much. This is so special. So, Dallisa, thank you. And is there anything else that might be coming in right now, that last things that you would like to share?
Yeah, I've enjoyed every moment of this, Natalie. You are such a blessing. And I love how you channel the angels. And so thank you for this opportunity. There's been a quote that keeps coming in from spirit. It's from the poet Rumi: live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. And I think it's just a simple reminder to us that life is happening for us, not to us. And so thank you for this opportunity today.
Oh, that's just perfect to leave everyone with that. Thank you. And also, I'd love people to have an opportunity to, how can they connect with you? Because I'm sure they're feeling the vibration and would love some more time with you.
Thank you. My website is spiritandspark.com, all spelled out. And all my socials are on there, and more information about what I do is on there as well. So spiritandspark.com is where to get everything. And I would love to hear from everybody that tuned in today and what they're getting from this. And so I would love to hear from them.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so lovely, everyone, to for us to connect afterwards and feel into this and also keep coming back and sharing, because I'm excited to hear how the unfolding goes as well. Yeah. And so I just realized my cards are here and I'm just getting a feeling to pick a card before we close. So they're these ones. We're going to get a special affirmation. So there's a whole lot of colors. Let's see which one we get. I'm being called to this yellow one. Oh, no, the green one. Okay. So we got the energy of green, which is the heart chakra, which will be right in there today. Be you. There is no one else that can. You are unique. And the affirmation is, I am me.
Yeah, we all are bringing our gifts and talents to this very important sacred time that we all live in. So I love that card.
Yeah, it's such divine perfection. So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. Namaste.